Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian David, and that is also the name of the channel. This is definitely the first time I've ever made a YouTube channel, obviously, and a video for that matter. And of course, it's something very strange in the sense that I have no idea what I'm doing whatsoever at all. And I don't know, for some reason I just felt like maybe that was the right thing to do. And basically, the reason for this channel will be, I guess, almost like a vlog so that I can share with you, the audience, um, I guess, my life, but not because I want to be famous per se, because I know that's why a lot of people make YouTube channels, but so that you may share my struggles and that I may share with yours, right? Um, this is first and foremost a godly channel, right? I want it to revolve around the Lord, Jesus Christ. I want it to revolve around Him first and foremost. And hopefully will be able to speak through him to you, and hopefully that's how it works. you know um, there's many things. This channel won't be just simply just me talking to you or you talking to me through the comments, but also I want to share my art. I'm not going to say I'm the best, but I'd say I'm pretty good. My music, even though I don't know anything about music, that's something I also want to focus on, because the only thing that I am able to do when it comes to music is sing. And anyone can sing. I don't really know much about notes and chords and scales, although I have dabbled like the last month in it. I just learned a few scales, but I think maybe it'd be interesting if you would follow me along in my journey of learning that, right? I think that'd be pretty interesting, because whenever I searched it up on YouTube, all I really saw was people who already knew. And I don't know, I guess when you're searching it, you want to see people who already know because you just want the information right then and there. But I think it'd be nice to follow along, with someone who knows absolutely nothing, right? And I know nothing at all whatsoever, you know. So I think that may be cool as well. And I also want to, I guess, because I plan on uploading a video every week or so, hopefully, of course, because I do have a full-time job and I have a lot of responsibilities, which is first and foremost, trying to be a devout worshiper to the Lord. And with that comes, reading the Bible, praying, fasting, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, so hopefully I can manage the time, you know that I have in my hands appropriately, and hopefully I will be able to upload a video every week, hopefully. Of course, definitely it's always going to be a struggle in the beginning because I'm starting from zero, from scratch. I was thinking about maybe researching about how to make a YouTube channel beforehand, but I felt like maybe it'd be a little more authentic if you could follow me along in my struggles and figuring things out. Of course, nowadays everything is much more easier because everything's online and on YouTube, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be without its hardships, of course. It's definitely going to be a little more difficult because you're like, oh, what do I do there? How do I do this exactly? And of course, when someone shows you something, it isn't the same thing as you doing it. So you could definitely follow along on that point as well. And another thing too, I know you see me obviously, right? I'm not the most fit person. However, I used to be. And that's another point I'll bring up later about how I used to be fit. But the point is, right, I see a lot of fitness channels out there, and for the most part, they are really gossipy. They just kind of like harp on each other, and I don't really like it, right? Because that's what I used to watch on YouTube channels. On the YouTube, mostly was, workout videos and stuff like that, and I don't know, I just didn't feel right. Because one, it's vanity, extreme vanity, of course, and the words they say is just too vulgar, and just in general, they're always so contentious. And I don't like that, so maybe I might include that in my videos as well, right? Like, try to give a more wholesome teaching of how to work out. I'm, of course, not the best. No one really is the best. But I'd say I'm pretty knowledgeable because I spent a good time of my life dedicated to that until, I decided not to. So that could be definitely another thing that I could add to it. And also, well, everyone has a past. Some people's much happier and some people much sadder. And I could definitely share with you my past, which I think would be very helpful. Definitely very helpful. Another thing that I feel could be very useful is sharing with you my poems. Recently, God has given me that gift, right? When I was younger, I didn't really write poems, but as of almost about a year ago, He gave me that gift, and it's beginning to flow like this creek. But definitely, definitely. But another thing that I have to mention is obviously you see my the way I look, my complexion on dark skinned with curly hair, and I guess, I'm Hispanic, Mexican, American. I primarily speak English, but I'm also very fluent in Spanish, although I prefer English. That's why I'm saying this in English. I was thinking about making this maybe a bilingual channel, but thinking it over past a few days, I think it would be better for it to be mainly in English, although of course I will be speaking Spanish here and there, but a majority of the world speaks more English than it does Spanish, and even many speakers of Spanish speak English in and of itself, but not many English speakers speak Spanish. So the channel will probably, I'd say, 80% be English, maybe 20% be Spanish. But the reason I bring this up is because my poems are all written in Spanish. And now you may ask yourself, why? Why are they written in Spanish? Well, because I attend a Spanish church, right? My mother, of course, she's from Mexico, an immigrant, and I'm the first generation American. And so I've always attended a Hispanic church. And I've tried attending English churches before, but it's just not the same. I guess once you're used to something, you just, it's a habit, you go to it, right? So I attend a Hispanic church and I like it, that's why I go, obviously. And, I read the word in Spanish as well, and I speak to them in Spanish. And so therefore, I write my poetry in Spanish because when I present it to the Lord, I present it, in front of his altar, and so in Spanish. I'm not sure how I would go about translating that on the YouTube channel, because it would be difficult because other things get lost in translation. And of course, it's a poem, so poems rhyme and they have a flow. And I could try to, I guess, translate them into English, but I feel like something of it would be lost. But of course, if that's God's will, then it will be done. And if it's God's will, then He will help me. So just place it in His hands and everything will be all right. That's definitely something I probably shouldn't worry about too much, just battle the obstacles as they come. Try not to worry about things too much. But yeah, those are the things that I currently want to focus on. Like I said, I'm trying to upload every week or so, hopefully. Like I said, this is my first video ever, and obviously my first channel ever. I will try my best, and obviously that's if I keep doing it, which I hope I will, because it's a commitment for me just to be here talking to this camera, and there's no one around, and I feel a little crazy. And I keep forgetting to look at the camera. I'm looking more at like the river, like if I'm like the thinker or something. But yeah, I hope to, I guess, make a connection through this camera and I guess through your screen in some ways, right, that are meaningful. And I hope I can be someone that can be real, definitely real with you, because I like to be honest as much as I can be. I know sometimes being honest can hurt, but the truth shall set you free. So there you go. But of course I will try to be tactful in my honesty, of course. And definitely, like I said, it's going to be a channel that's God-centered. So I also, one of the main things, probably one of the first and foremost things that I want to do, which I should have mentioned earlier, but I'm just kind of letting it flow out of my mouth, is I want to maybe dwell on what I felt that God was teaching me that week. Because it's a good form of reflection, and it's a good way of, I guess, sharing it with you as well, because God works in mysterious ways, because nothing is a coincidence, because He knows everything, right? And I could, quote you some biblical texture right now, but I don't really know them in English, so I guess I could say in Spanish, porque antes que la palabra salga de la boca, he aquí, oh Jehová, tú la sabes toda. And it's true, God knows the word that comes out of our mouth before it even comes out. And so it's not a coincidence that I'm here, sitting in front of this camera, yeah, talking to myself. Well, I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to you guys, once I upload it, of course. And yeah, I really hope that I can be of benefit to you, I guess going with that point, right? What have I learned this week? Well, this past week, in church they've been teaching about baptism classes. I've been baptized. I was baptized a long time ago when I was 12. Right now I'm currently 25. And it's a long time ago, and teaching me things that I should have known from a long time ago. And basically, I guess the main message of this week, or I guess the past few weeks, is if you have to serve, right? You have to serve the Lord. And then there's a saying in Spanish. I don't really remember where I heard it from or who said it, but it's really always stuck with me. And it goes, "El que no sirve, no sirve." And so that basically translates to, whoever doesn't work is useless. And I don't want to be useless anymore, you know. But of course, it's one thing to say something, and it's another thing to do it. And so that's why I pray to the Lord, obviously in Spanish. I also pray in Spanish, that, I'll say it in Spanish, que ponga en mí el hacer tal como el querer. And so that translates to put in me the doing as well as the wanting. Because we can say we want to do something, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day if we never do it. It's just empty words. And so I hope that God can help me put my words into action. That's definitely what I'm trying to do here. Most definitely. It's obviously it's not easy because, as a human being, we procrastinate, we forget, and I feel like that's one of the main lessons this week. You have to serve, and not that I want to be a leader, because being a leader is a huge responsibility, and I've had to deal with that before when I was in the military, and I'll probably touch more on that on different videos on different times. And it's not easy. Being a leader isn't something I think most people should wish for, unless of course God has given you that gift from the beginning and you're just a natural born leader. I'm definitely not a natural born leader whatsoever, at all. But like I said, if you want to be a leader, you definitely have to learn that you're not a leader. Isn't there to be served, but leader is there to serve others. That's why Jesus, he washed the disciples' feet. That's why Jesus came here and decided to pay the price, the ultimate price for us. And so of course, if you believe in God, salvation is attained through Jesus Christ. Amen. And through him, well, you have to be just like him. You have to be a disciple. And being a disciple means you're an exact copy. Well, as much as you can be, of course, because who can attain perfection in this world? No one, because we are conceived in sin. And we are brought into this world in sin, and we die in sin. And only through grace are we saved. And so, I guess this is the beginning. This is the first step. And that was one of the first things I was thinking about calling this channel a long time ago, of the first step. But that was kind of inspired by a book that I read that isn't Christian. And so therefore I cast it out, because if it wasn't inspired through the Holy Spirit, then it's not something that's useful. So that's why I cast it out. And I guess that brings me to the point of why this channel is called Brian David. Well, my first name is Brian, and my middle name is David. And if you've noticed, that David is capitalized entirely. And the reason why David is capitalized is because David, King David, he's definitely someone that I want to model myself after, because he was a man according to God's heart. And I want to be a man according to God's heart. I want to love him with all that I can. But like I said earlier, it's easy to say something, and it's hard to actually do it. But nothing is a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that my middle name is David. I am happy that my parents decided to put my middle name as David. They actually wanted to name me Abraham. I'm glad they didn't name me Abraham. I definitely prefer my name, Brian David. But yes, Brian David. Hopefully that I can be a David before the eyes of God, and that I can be a man according to his will and to his heart. Yeah. So that'll bring this video to a close, and hopefully I'll be able to see you guys next time, and hopefully this video isn't as terrible as I think. Maybe it's even better. We'll see. Well, God bless you. I'll see you next time.